Hi, Hugh Taylor here, coming at you on a Sunday morning with some thoughts on public relations strategies for entrepreneurs. Now, if I sound a little weird, it's because I've managed to catch a cold. I'm sorry, but hopefully you'll bear with me. So today we're going to talk about how PR can be an effective way to promote a new business. And, one of the questions that comes up out of this is, what is an entrepreneur? And it's a very broad category. It includes people like our woman here who's probably starting some kind of e-commerce business from a coffee shop. That's like the classic American thing now, but it could also be somebody, opening a new dry cleaning store. It could be someone who's gotten venture capital money. There are some pretty big businesses actually that consider themselves entrepreneurial ventures, like a company with 100 million in funding and 500 employees is an entrepreneurial venture. And so is, a woman in a KISS t-shirt at a coffee shop, but they have a lot of things in common when it comes to PR. And surprisingly, some of the same questions and problems in figuring out PR, no matter how big or sophisticated the entrepreneurial company may be. And we're going to talk about this, like, what are you trying to accomplish? That's a big one. PR strategies for accomplishing those goals, measuring success, and common errors and best practices. So, just to go over something that you probably know, but maybe don't, just take 1 minute here. The public relations which is the, basically getting the news media, whether it's newspaper, television, radio, internet news sites, bloggers, podcasters, to write about or, cover your business or you as an entrepreneur, which gives you social proof. It's like saying, hey, I'm somebody important. My business is worth noticing because, the New York Times wrote an article about me or whatever. There are also search engine benefits of PR, and that is sort of really like a sort of form of PR that's devoted to search engines. And web traffic. PR can be good for lead generation. PR can be good for credibility with investors and partners. And it can be all these things, not just one of them. So when I work with entrepreneurs, the most important question I ask them is, what are you trying to accomplish? And this takes some people by surprise, which is understandable. If you're an entrepreneur, chances are you don't know a lot about public relations because you haven't been probably exposed to it before, or certainly not in any great depth. So what are you trying to accomplish? And a lot of the time I sort of say, do you want more web traffic, which means maybe you'll do PR for search engines? Do you want foot traffic? Are you trying to promote a location? This is, for some entrepreneurial businesses, this is the only thing that matters. Getting people to come to their, restaurant, dental practice, tire store, fashion outlet, whatever it is. They need people to come in and shop. PR can help with that. Do they want new customers? Do you want people to download your app or visit your website and sign up for some kind of service or buy a product on an e-commerce store? That's another goal that PR can help you accomplish. PR is usually not the only thing you're going to be doing, and it shouldn't be the only thing. It should be part of your marketing mix. PR combines with things like advertising, marketing communications, that sort of thing. And if for certain kinds of entrepreneurial businesses, one of the goals is to build a partner network. So PR can be a good way to get the word out to potential partners while also validating your concept in their eyes, so they'll want to partner with you. And a related area of work is attracting investors. Investors sometimes are encouraged that a venture has potential because they see it getting covered in the news, which is that social proof. It provides that validation. So when we come to PR strategies for entrepreneurs, they basically map back to the goals. And if this seems basic, it's because sometimes people don't really get that PR is really about achieving business objectives. Yes, PR is about getting news coverage, but news coverage, to be effective, PR should be addressing a business issue, not some kind of vague, like, oh, I want to be in the paper. And I'll give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. Even at Microsoft, which is a very big and very sophisticated company for public relations, there were some mix-ups about what people were trying to accomplish. So when I was running PR for a product at Microsoft, executives would say, well, I want to have an article about the product in the Wall Street Journal. And I'd say, okay, well, we can work on that. And that's something that you can actually do when you're at Microsoft because you have a lot of money and a lot of good PR people with reach into publications like that. But what I would point out, and I don't think I earned myself a lot of friends in doing this, but I was trying to make an important point, which is that people who buy our product aren't really going to do it because they read about it in the Wall Street Journal. In fact, they probably aren't even reading the Wall Street Journal. It's more like if we could get an article about our product in Information Week or PC Week, or covered by some guy in his garage who has 1 million blog followers for Microsoft, that's what's going to drive sales. Everything else is really just ego stroking. So it's a kind of, you have to have an alignment of PR goals and PR strategies, which are really business goals. So if your SEO, if search engine optimization is your goal, then the PR strategy is to write and distribute press releases on a regular basis. This is quite different from, trying to get media outlets to cover you. It's an automated process. You can write a press release, you can put it into distribution, which is like an automated syndication, and you can you can do it every day practically. You can build up backlinks and references and so forth. If your goal is to increase foot traffic, then your PR strategy should be one of local media outreach, possibly including special events or promotions to draw people to a location. This is something that I've been working on a lot lately, which is trying to come up with ideas for events that'll bring reporters out. Like I've noticed that reporters like to get out of the house. They want to get out. They like free food. They like drinks. Invite them to an event and see if they'll come. And that it's at a minimum, it's a more interesting pitch to reporters. Say, hey, come have an interesting experience versus like, here's a business, write about me. Here's a story idea. If your goal is new customers, then you maybe want to seek getting your product reviewed by people who review products or have a feature article written about you. And this is obviously something that a lot of companies want. And we'll talk about errors and best practices in a minute, but this is problematic because this is something that a lot of people want, but not a lot of entrepreneurs really understand how to achieve or if they're even ready for it. If you're trying to build a partner network or get investors, then your PR strategy might be to become a thought leader by being featured in the news as an individual. So this is the entrepreneur as a person, an interesting person who has, interesting things to say, who's a thought leader. And this can position you, the entrepreneur, or members of your team as people who are, valuable in the business world and therefore worthy of partnering with or investing in. And so these are all different, and it's a different approach to PR. If you want to be a thought leader, then the PR strategy is to offer yourself as a source, an expert source, or an on-air guest. I'm interesting. I've got cool stuff to say. I'm going to make your media outlet, attractive, interesting and engaging. People are going to want to tune in. And then in the process, you can establish yourself as a thought leader, which you can then showcase to investors and partners. So measuring success is part of the mix. Excuse me. Like any process where you're investing money into a service, you want to know how you're doing with it. The challenge is that PR results are subjective. They can be hard to measure, but you can still track results and evaluate their impact on your business. So, for example, one method is to, obviously you want to keep track of press mentions or, pickups in the news. So you could say, last month we spent, $1,000 on public relations and we got an article written about us in this newspaper, so you can say that was our result. The question is, what does that really mean? Depends on your business. But if you're sometimes what's helpful is to track where, for example, new customers come from. So if you ask people, how do you find out about us, and they say, I read about you in the paper, then you can start to tie that back and say, So that investment in PR paid off because this customer came in the door because of a newspaper article and so forth. A lot of the time it's going to be difficult to pin that down, but it's important to have some kind of tracking process, and your PR service provider should be doing that too. And usually they will, because they're trying to justify their budget. They're saying, hey, we worked last month, we had so many mentions of you, so many articles, that kind of thing. Common errors for entrepreneurs in PR include things like not being ready for PR. I see this a lot, and it's understandable. People are kicking off a new business, they're all ready to go. But an example of this is wanting to get a product review before the product exists. Now, that might sound kind of dumb, but this comes up a lot with crowdfunding. What I've learned over the years, the hard way, is that reporters really don't like crowdfunding stories. They are definitely in the mode of, when this thing is real, show it to me. Until then, I don't want to hear about it. And you could say that's not fair or whatever, but that's just the way it is. I've seen this so many times. Or you don't really know what you have to say yet. Okay, you don't have a strong, differentiated media message. And this is something that entrepreneurs at one level don't understand, and at another level intuitively understand when I just explain to them, which is that selling your story to the media is very similar to selling your idea to investors and selling your product to new customers. There has to be a reason for the media to be interested in you. If let's say you've invented an app. Let's say you've invented a dating app, okay? If you say, hi, I have a dating app, most reporters would say, that's really cool. I'm not interested, because there are already 200 dating apps on the market, some of which are very successful, and who the hell are you, right? Just in the same way that a customer would say, like, why would I care about this dating app? I already have dating apps, right? Or an investor would say, why should I invest in your dating app? So and here's the thing. Maybe there is nothing special about your dating app, in which case your venture is going to have trouble, okay? I think we understand that. We're grown-ups here, right? If you're not differentiated, people aren't going to be drawn to you. But similarly, reporters aren't going to be interested. Reporters want interesting stories. They want cool stuff to write about. They want people to click on their article. So they have to have an interesting headline. So, so let's say you have a special dating app. Your dating app not only matches you, it matches your pets. Okay, I'm just completely making this up. It's the dating app for dog owners. You get to have a profile of yourself and of your dog, and you get to match with potential, romantic partners who also have dogs. Okay, I know that's really dumb, but I just made that up. So it's at least different, right? Oh, the dating app for dog people. Okay, now you're getting a little closer to something that a reporter might want to talk about. There's a concept in PR called FBO, first, best, only. Are you the first to do something? Are you the best? Like if you won an award, are you the only one doing it, right? This is what reporters respond to. Reporters don't want to write an article called the 3,000th dating app that's just like every other dating app. That's not a story, right? That's not how the media works. And this is, a very understandable problem for entrepreneurs, because chances are you haven't really done this before. But how does the media work? If you want to be in the media, you have to offer something of benefit to the media. What do they want? They want eyeballs. They want clicks. They want advertiser dollars. They get that with fascinating content, distinctive content that stands out and gets people to click on it. And as you've probably noticed, we're in a very noisy and competitive media environment right now. You have hundreds of news sites, television channels, radio stations, blogs, podcasts, and on and on. They're all screaming for audience attention. If you can help them stand out and get that attention, then they will pay attention to you. If you can't do that, they won't pay attention to you. Okay? This is why I tell people I cannot guarantee results, but we're going to try if I think it's worthwhile. Because sometimes I will say, you know what, I don't think this is going to work, at least not now. Come back to me when you're ready, okay? So there's a lot to it. I don't want to be negative or discouraging, but it is not an easy process, and I get really irritated by colleagues in my industry who fluff it up and like, oh yeah, it's super easy. I guarantee you, blah blah blah. It's wrong. Anyway, if you want to learn more about it, I've written this utterly fascinating short ebook called Stop Being Invisible. It's available to you for free at the link below. Also, there's a special offer at the link below, which you can click on if you want to order the service, and you can also set up a meeting with me if you want to talk with me more. If you found my video to be utterly fascinating and you want to have 15 minutes of my time, I'm available to you. Anyway, these are some thoughts on PR strategies for entrepreneurs.